Hello there, it's Sarah from Paper Lovely. Thanks for joining me today. I have got a Watercolor Wednesday to share with you, and I'm using another Stamping Bella image. So this one is called Faye Loves Fall, and she is so adorable with her apples and her little pumpkin down towards her feet there, and then all these fall leaves sort of floating around her in the air. So I have got my usual Fabriano 140 pound hot press watercolor paper, and I am stamping out my image using my Simon Says Stamp black ink. And then once I have that done, I did go ahead and mask her off. I wanted to do sort of a nice bright blue sky behind her, as well as some green grass for her to be standing on. So I did use my Grafix masking fluid, and I've mentioned that in some previous videos, but for those of you who may have missed it, what you do is paint this fluid on exactly the same way that you would with your watercolors, but it sort of has a rubberized texture to it when it dries, and then you can go ahead and do your watercoloring in the background, and that will repel it away from what you want to watercolor later. So this way I can keep her nice and clean and still get a nice solid background that's going to go all the way around my image. So I painted in my blue sky there, I'm adding in my grass, and then I'm just going to take my finger and very carefully and slowly, even though it doesn't look like it there in the video, just peel that away, and it just sort of forms into a little ball as you roll it back, and then you can take that right off of your paper and go ahead and watercolor as usual. Now my recommendation, if you do decide to use a masking fluid, is to let it dry overnight just to make sure it is completely dry before you paint over it, because if it's not, you can get some seepage that will come in underneath the edges or in spots that may still be wet even though they look like they're dry. So I am using my Gansai Tambi watercolors today and my Santa Fe brushes. They are my favorites to use when I watercolor. And as I mentioned, I have sped up the video quite a bit for you. So for those of you who enjoy the process, at this point, I'm going to turn up the music. And for those of you who just want to watch me complete the card, you'll want to skip to around the 7.5 minute mark, and I will meet you there. So now that my panel is finished and completely dry, I am going to trim that out using my MFT Blueprints 32 frame die. That gives me a panel that's going to measure 3 3/4 by 5 inches. I've got another panel trimmed from Nina. This is also to 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And I'm going to stamp out this sentiment here. I am so thankful to have you in my life. Again, using my Simon Says Stamp black ink for that. I've gone ahead and popped up my front panel using some Scotch foam tape, and I'm going to peel away the backing here, and I'll place this down on a card base made from MFT's Tangy Orange cardstock. This is one of my favorite oranges to use. It's really, really pretty warm color. I'll add some ATG to my inside panel and place that down as well. And that will complete the card for today. Here are a few close-ups of the finished card. In the description box below, you'll find my blog post, which has additional photos and links to the supplies I used. If you enjoyed the video, please leave me a comment or a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.